Hey folks, this is Kalani. Season 4 of Dragonflight introduces a lot of different ways to gear up, but one of the easiest and most solo-friendly player options is going to be crafted gear. We have a new spark to collect, the Spark of Awakening, which lets you craft or upgrade your crafted gear to much higher item levels. Getting sparks is also a little different in Season 4 when compared to previous seasons. We can in fact get a full spark in this first week, which a lot of folks don't seem to know about. So let's go over everything you need to know about the Spark of Awakening and how you can use them to get some very easy item level 502 gear that can then be upgraded all the way to item level 525. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. Now I know a lot of folks are returning to the game right now who might not have played during Season 3 or Season 2 or during Dragonflight at all, so we're going to go through the entire process of getting your sparks and how you can turn them into pieces of gear just to make sure everyone understands exactly how this works. Our new spark for Season 4 is called the Spark of Awakening. Sparks are the main requirement for crafting higher item level gear, and you can use Sparks of Awakening to get up to item level 525 gear eventually, so there are some huge gear upgrades you can work towards using sparks in the crafting system. The best part about crafted gear is that you get to choose which item is crafted, so you can get your best stuff right away, or fill in your lower item level gaps as the season progresses. It's a very reliable, easy source of high item level gear, and you don't even really need to take part in any difficult endgame content. Getting your sparks is very simple. You need to combine two splintered Sparks of Awakening to get one spark, which you can then use in crafted recipes. There are two sources of splintered sparks in Season 4 that we know of so far. The first source is a weekly Awakened Activity quest. The most straightforward option is the Last Hurrah weekly quest available by the Fountain in Valdrakken. These quests ask you to take part in various world events, which are all super easy and quick, so the weekly shouldn't take you too long to complete, and that will give you a splintered Spark of Awakening. You can also do the PvP weekly quests in Valdrakken if PvP sounds easier or more enjoyable when compared to the world events. There are two weekly quests available from the same NPC, so just complete whichever you would prefer. Now you can only get one splinter from these quests per week. After the first quest, you should notice that the weekly Awakened Activity reward will have red text that says you have already earned your spark for this week, so even though there are 3 different weekly quests that can reward this splinter, only the first one you complete will actually give you a splinter. So do whichever weekly quest you prefer, and that is your first splinter secured. The second splinter that we can get is very different from any other season in Dragonflight so far because there's no guaranteed way to pick it up. It is a random drop from Mythic Plus Keystone dungeons or from killing Awakened raid bosses, so this splinter only seems to be available in endgame group content. Mythic Plus Keystones are going to be a bit harder to get into this season because they start quite a bit higher in terms of difficulty, so that's not an easy source for this first week, but it is an option. Awakened raid bosses might seem even harder to take down, but looking for raid bosses do count, so you can get your other splinter from running LFR, which you will probably want to do for your weekly bronze bullion anyway. LFR is easy enough for anyone and everyone to hop in and get some quick kills, so that is going to be your best option if you don't want to dip your toes into any of the harder endgame content. We're not too sure if this extra spark is going to be available every week. In previous seasons, we were able to get an extra spark in only the first week by handing in a special quest. That same kind of quest doesn't seem to be available in Season 4, so maybe this endgame group content spark is to fill in that gap. We'll find out for sure next week, but basically we can get a full spark in this first week no matter what, and then from here on out we're looking at one spark every 2 weeks if we only get the weekly quest splinter from now, or one spark every week if we can also then get the Mythic Plus and Raid splinter every week too. So we're just kinda gonna have to wait and see on that one. With both splinters in hand, you need to combine them with 250 flight stones to create your first Spark of Awakening. So we have our first spark. How do we turn that into a piece of gear? This is going to depend on whether or not you have a crafting profession. If you do have a crafting profession, you can just pop your spark into the top reagent slot for an endgame crafting recipe. The slot is called Spark, and its only purpose is to let you use sparks to increase the item level of crafted gear. The item level will depend on the rank of the resulting craft, from rank 1 to rank 5, which is all tied to the quality system in your profession. With a Spark of Awakening, rank 1 is going to give you an item level 489 pieces of gear, while rank 5 will be item level 502. Higher crafting skill combined with profession tree knowledge and high-level profession gear can yield those higher rank 5 results. If all of that went over your head, I don't blame you, especially if you're just returning to the game. Professions have gotten pretty complicated nowadays, and if you are new to Dragonflight, you haven't played in a while, or you don't have a crafting profession already leveled up with lots of knowledge unlocked, chances are you are going to be better off just going to get your crafted gear from a crafting order. Thankfully, that process is quite simple. Over in Valdrakken, you can find the crafting order clerks, talk to one of them, and you can search for any viable crafting recipe that other players can make for you. Find the piece of gear you want crafted, and the window will tell you everything you need to get that item crafted. Remember to make sure the recipe has a spark slot on it so it can bump up the item level. Gather all of the materials and you can send your work order. At the top right, you can change where your order goes. For a public order, you cannot set any rank restrictions, so you're just going to get whatever the player who picks up your order can do. That could leave you with a rank 1 item, which isn't ideal. You could do that yourself. We want to get those higher ranks for the highest item level we can get. So you're going to want to change that public order part to either a guild order if you are in a guild with some good crafters, or to a private order. Now, finding someone to craft a private order is actually really easy. Just pop into trade chat, ask for someone who can make your desired item at rank 5, and you should get a whisper very quickly. Or wait for someone to advertise their crafting. I know on my server, trade chat is full of max level crafters spamming their profession, willing to craft almost anything at rank 5. So when you've found a crafter, pop that player's name into the private order box and send it off with an appropriate commission. That's your best chance of getting those rank 5 items, and thus the highest item level from your Spark of Awakening. So get your splinters, combine them into a spark, and get some gear crafted. That's all you need to do to get some easy item level 502 gear. Between crafted gear, the open world content, and the bronze bullion vendor, you can get a pretty high item level without really doing any harder end game content. Now you can upgrade this crafted gear to 515 or 525, but it's going to take a bit more effort. To upgrade crafted gear, you'll need Enchanted Worm Awakened Crests and Enchanted Aspect Awakened Crests. These are made by an enchanter, so if you have enchanting and you have the recipe, you can make them for yourself, but if you don't, you're going to need to put in a work order just like you did for the piece of crafted gear. Hop on over to the crafting order clerk, search for Awakened Crest, and pick whichever one you're trying to get crafted. The main component for both of these items are nascent awakened crests, which can be purchased from enchanting supplies vendors, and they just cost worm crests or aspect crests, depending on which one you're going after. You can get the rest of the materials from the auction house pretty easily, so the real problem here is going to be acquiring those worm crests and aspect crests. Worm crests mainly come from heroic awakened raid bosses or mythic +2 to +5 keystones. If you're already doing this content, you should be able to collect worm crests pretty easily and use them to upgrade your crafted gear to 515 item level. And then the aspect crests mainly come from the mythic awakened raid bosses or mythic +6 or higher keystones, so that's definitely only for the higher end of PvE players, but if you can get your hands on aspect crests, this is how you can use them to upgrade your gear to 525, which is the current maximum for crafted gear. Now there is a way to get your hands on worm crests without needing to do the more difficult content, the weekly vault. Taking part in various types of content can populate your weekly vault with reward options. The best two for this video would probably be heroic dungeon queues or LFR, both very easy, you queue into it, you don't have to set up a group yourself, and you'll get some rewards in the weekly vault. When the weekly reset rolls around, you get to pick one of these options, or you can choose to take Aspect's Token of Merit down at the bottom. You get 2 tokens per reward slot you've unlocked up to a maximum of 6. Basically, if you fill in at least 3 of the vault rewards and take the currency, you'll get 6 tokens. You can then take these tokens and spend them at the vendor right next to the vault, and they sell a pack of 15 worm crests for 2 coins each. If you get 6 coins, that's 45 worm crests you can get per week, which just and so happens to be how many you need for your enchanted worm crests. So that's very handy. Using this method, you can upgrade 1 piece of crafted gear per week up to that 515 max for enchanted worm crests, and you can fill up the vault with something as easy as heroic dungeons now, so this is one upgrade path that is available to absolutely everyone. So that's everything you need to know about how to get your sparks, how they work, and how you can upgrade this gear to pretty high item levels. The only question left is, what should you get crafted? Season 4 is a bit weird because we have a lot of different ways to gear up and more ways to get the exact items that we want. For example, the Antique Bronze Bullion Vendor lets you buy any weapon, ring, or trinket from any of the 3 Dragonflight Rays, and this gear can be upgraded to the highest levels available in the season. So this vendor is huge for gearing up, but this also means you probably don't want to spend your sparks crafting a weapon if you then plan on buying one of the raid weapons with your bullions. So weapons, rings, and trinkets are probably not the best choice when it comes to crafted gear with your sparks for Season 4. Crafted gear can also not be used in the catalyst or turned into tier set gear, so crafting a piece of gear in your head, shoulders, chest, hands, or leg slots first probably isn't ideal either, because you're going to want to get at least 4 pieces of your tier set to benefit from those big bonuses. So I would focus on your lower item level pieces of gear in pretty much every slot. So your wrists, belt, and boots are really good early pickups if you don't have any good options from anywhere else, or if you don't want to craft a special item like the Elemental Lariat. With so many options for gearing up in Season 4, you'll be fully kitted out in no time. But that's everything you should need to fully understand Sparks of Awakening and how you can get some really high item level gear without too much effort. What items are you going to craft first, and how do you feel about one of the splinters being locked behind endgame group content? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members who are on YouTube. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you'd like to add your name to the end of every video with a special shout out at the start of the next video, you can find links in the description over to Patreon or click the join button just below this video. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I'll see you next time.